In today's video, we are going to be talking about animals. Everybody loves animals. I love animals as well. But we are not going to be talking about just any animals. We are going to be talking about animals that you can only find in North America. These three animals can only be found in the continent of North America. If you live in a different continent like Europe or Asia or Africa, you are not going to be able to find these animals. The first animal that we are going to be talking about today is the coyote. The coyote is kind of like a dog. Coyotes look very similar to dogs. Maybe some of you have a dog as a pet. Coyotes look kind of like dogs, but they're wild. They don't live in people's homes like dogs do. They live in the wild. They live in forests, in mountains. They don't really like to live with people. Now, coyotes are kind of smaller animals. They aren't very big. A coyote is smaller than a wolf, but it's bigger than another similar animal, like a fox. Coyotes are bigger than foxes. Foxes are smaller than coyotes. Like I said, coyotes live in the wild. But that doesn't mean you can't find a coyote in your city. Coyotes actually like to live in cities as well, as long as humans don't see them. They don't like to be seen by human beings. A lot of coyotes actually come to cities in order to have more food. In cities, there's a lot of little animals like rats, like bunnies. And these animals are great for coyotes because they provide food for coyotes. Coyotes hunt, coyotes kill these animals and eat them. For that reason, a lot of coyotes actually come to live in cities. Now, when coyotes go and live in cities, they like to stay hidden from humans. They don't want to be seen by humans because they are scared of humans. When a coyote sees you, he's afraid of you. For that reason, when a coyote lives in a city, he usually will only come out at nighttime. They don't like to be seen during the day. So during the day, they're usually hidden. They're not trying to be seen during the day. Another interesting fact about coyotes is that they were a very important animal for the people living in North America before Europeans arrived in North America. Before Europeans came to North America and created cities and countries in North America, the people who lived in North America loved coyotes. The people in North America really loved coyotes. These people we call Native Americans. To Native Americans, the coyote was a very important animal, and they loved coyotes because coyotes are seen as very intelligent. Coyotes are very smart. For that reason, Native Americans believed that coyotes were actually an important part of their culture, of their religious beliefs. One example of this that we see in Native American culture is a character in Native American myths, in the stories that Native Americans told, a character whose name is Coyote. Now, this character was shown as a coyote, but he wasn't like a normal coyote that you would see walking around on four legs, barking, hunting. He was a little bit different. He was shown as a coyote, but a coyote who acted like a human being. He walked like a human being with two legs instead of four legs. He talked like a human being. And he did pretty much everything else that a human being did. Now, this character is a very interesting character because he was very intelligent, but also sometimes kind of dumb. He was very smart, but also sometimes not very smart. In different stories about this character, we see him acting very differently. In some stories, he's very smart. In some stories, he's not very smart. Another interesting fact about this character is that in some stories, he's very good. He's a very friendly person. He does good things for people. But in other stories, he is the opposite. In other stories, he is shown to be very evil. He is shown to be very bad. He is shown to do bad things to people. Now, coyotes we can find in pretty much every part of North America. These animals have spread across all of North America. From the very top of North America, in northern Canada, we see coyotes. And to the very bottom of North America, in Central America, we see coyotes. We even see coyotes moving so much that it's believed that coyotes will one day move into South America. If coyotes one day move into South America, they won't only be living in North America, they'll be living in North America and South America. They will be living in two continents instead of one. But for now, coyotes are one of these animals that only lives in North America. The next animal that we are going to be talking about is the bald eagle. The bald eagle is basically a type of bird. Obviously, there are lots of different types of birds, but the bald eagle is an interesting one because it has a very interesting look to it. Bald eagles are very big birds. They're not very small birds. They're very big. And they have a unique white head. their entire head is covered with white feathers. This is actually where they get their name from. This is the reason why they're called bald eagles. A lot of people think that bald eagle means they don't have hair on their head, that they have no hair on their head. A lot of people think that because bald means no hair. If you have no hair, you are called bald. But this is not true. This is not the reason bald eagles are called bald. The reason why they're called bald is because there used to be an Old English word, a word that we don't use anymore, called bald, that basically meant white-headed. So the name bald eagle doesn't come from them having no hair or no feathers, because bald eagles do have feathers all over their body. Every part of their body has feathers. Instead, the name comes from the fact that bald eagles have a white head. Their head is completely covered in white feathers. All of the feathers on their head are white. Now, bald eagles are also a very important part of the culture of the United States. The bald eagle is actually the national symbol of the United States, which means we see the picture of the bald eagle on many different things in the United States. For example, a lot of our money in the United States has a picture of a bald eagle. A lot of the coins that we use in the United States have a picture of a bald eagle. Another interesting fact about bald eagles is that although they do hunt, although they do try to kill other animals to eat them, they are also known for trying to find, for looking for animals that are already dead. Animals that have already died or been killed. And the bald eagles, when they find those animals, they basically just fly down and eat them. So a lot of the times that bald eagles eat another animal, they didn't actually kill that animal. They just found that animal dead. They just found an animal that had already died or been killed by another animal. These types of animals that do this, that look for dead animals to eat them, are called scavengers. Another interesting fact about bald eagles is that although we usually see them flying, we usually see them flying around, bald eagles are actually really good swimmers. Bald eagles can swim very well and very fast. So if you see a bald eagle, they might be flying, they might be walking, or they might be swimming as well. Now, bald eagles we can find in different parts of North America, but mainly in the northern part, the most northern part. The last animal that we are going to be talking about today is one of my personal favorites. I love this animal. The final animal is called the bison. A bison is like a cow. A cow and a bison are kind of similar. Except a bison is wild. A bison lives in the wild. An interesting fact about bison is that we are kind of lucky that we can even see bison, that we even have bison in North America today. The reason I say this is because bison were almost all killed. There was a point in time, at one point in history, every single bison was almost killed. Bison almost stopped existing. In fact, there was a point where there was less than 1,000 bison left in the entire world. The reason that this was happening, the reason why there was less and less and less bison every day was because hunters, people with guns, looking to kill animals for meat and for fun and for other reasons, were trying to kill bison. Many hunters wanted to kill as many bison as they could. For this reason, almost all of the bison in the world were killed. Almost all. But due to the efforts, due to the work of many people who decided to try to save the bison, today we see a lot more bison. You can come to North America and you can see lots of bison in North America because of the work of many people who fought, who did a lot of valuable work to try to keep these animals alive. Another interesting fact about bison is kind of like what I said about coyotes. The bison were also a very important animal for the Native Americans, for the people who lived in North America before Europeans came, before Europeans arrived in North America. The reason the bison were so important to these people was because they were a good source of food. Native Americans hunted and killed bison to feed their societies, to feed their families. The way they hunted bison is especially interesting and shocking. The way Native Americans hunted bison is they would chase the bison. They would run after all of the bison, and they would yell, and they would scream, and they would try to get the bison to run away, and they would try to run the bison. They would try to push the bison off of a cliff. So the bison would run and run and run and fall off of a large cliff. When the bison hit the ground, they would die. And the Native Americans could come and collect and take the meat back to their homes, where they could cook the meat and they could eat the meat. One other interesting fact about bison is that although they are very large animals, they are not small animals. They are very big animals. Although they are very large animals, they can actually run very fast. Bison can run very fast. Bison can run 35 miles per hour, which means bison are faster than humans. Humans are much slower than bison. Bison can also jump very high. Bison can jump very high. Bison can jump about 6 feet high. That means bison can jump higher than the height of most people. To me, that is very surprising because bison are so big. It's hard to picture them jumping so high and running so fast. To me, it's just kind of difficult to see in my mind. Now, a lot of people, unfortunately, have actually been killed by bison for this reason. A lot of people, when they're visiting areas where bison live, when people are visiting these areas that have bison, people think they can get very close. People think they can walk up to the bison and maybe touch the bison, or maybe yell at the bison, or talk to the bison very close to them. And these people think it's not going to be a problem because the bison are so big, and a lot of people think since they're so big, they're also going to be very slow, which is, of course, not true. So a lot of times when people try to run away from bison, when the bison is mad, when the bison has become angry, they cannot, because bison are faster than human beings. So although these animals are beautiful, and although these animals are interesting, it's better to view them from a distance. It's better to look at them from far away and not get too close to them. Now, bison are in many different parts of North America, but mainly in the United States. You're mainly going to find bison in my country, the United States. You can also find them in Canada, and you can also find them in northern Mexico, but generally, but mainly you're gonna find them in the United States. Anyways, that was 3 animals that you can only find in North America. I hope you learned something new about these 3 animals. I hope you learned some interesting facts about these 3 animals. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it provided some useful English learning and provided you with more knowledge about the continent of North America and the animals who live here. Thank you very much.